Hello, welcome to Undisputed Boxing. It's the Olympic edition, rather. I'm here with Rick. I'm going to have very, very little input on this one, I'm afraid. I've been way too busy with work to watch any of the Olympics.
For the best. For the best.
Yeah. But here with a full breakdown and analysis of GB boxing, I'm here with Rick. Okay, take it away.
Rick's Olympic Roundup. And it's not complete, so I can bring you a final edition next week. You'll all be excited to hear. A little bit about what's going on in the boxing, the Olympics. First thing to say is that this technically is our best ever Olympics for boxing when it comes to the number of medals. So we've already won 4, and we're guaranteed another 2, of which we don't know the colour yet. So we've got at least 2 of the bronze, and I'll just talk about some of the winners at the moment. So Yafaya, obviously he's got 2 famous brothers. He has won a bronze. I can't remember his first name, but he's the 3rd oldest of I think it's about 5 of them actually. I think the other 2 aren't boxers. It's a big family. He's won a bronze. Another British guy called McCormack. He's won a silver. There's a guy today called Whitaker. He fought for the gold medal and lost and got silver. He fought a guy called Arlam, Cuban, who's I think he's won it 2 or 3 times actually at the weight. I think it was. I know the weights are slightly different, but I think it was around the welterweight. And Whitaker lost the first 2 and won the final round.
What's his name? Whitaker. Do you mean Whitaker?
Whitaker. They were pronouncing it Whitaker in the thing.
Whitaker. I've never heard that name. Is it double T or what? A single T?
I've written it down. It was double, but I wouldn't trust that if I've written it down.
Whitaker. It must be Whitaker.
Maybe it is. Surely it's Whitaker.
This sounds really strange. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, it's more the foreign guys' names that I'm going to butcher. I wasn't expecting to butcher the British, but he unfortunately he got a knockdown. He got a knockdown. He got a count for him. So as in the other guy, the Arlam, in the final round, but in the middle round, but it wasn't enough to sway the round. So I'm learning a little bit about some of the rules here. I thought it's not necessarily a 10-8 or anything like that. So he actually got the other guy to have a count, and he still didn't win the round. He was really gutted about his silver. He was actually crying and thought he'd let everyone down. And it's strange because we seem to know the scores, but I don't think the boxers do.
Yeah.
Because he seemed really perplexed at the end, but we all knew that he really couldn't win unless he knocked the guy out in the final round.
Yeah, I did know that. Yeah, the point scoring system on Olympic boxing, everybody that's watching it knows, you can see the scores. How quickly they can get that information to the trainer and the boxer, I don't know. I don't know if they can. Yeah.
And so Whitaker, that is a light heavyweight, which I'm not sure. I think that translates to probably cruiserweight, or maybe it's actual light heavyweight, because I know there's super. I don't know if there's a heavyweight and super. I don't know if there's light, heavy, and super. I think there is in the Olympics, which is basically light, cruiser, and heavy in the.
I thought the weight divisions were the same, but they just have heavyweight and then they have super heavyweight.
Yeah, but you often find heavyweights are the cruisers.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, pretty sure. So I think Okoli got a bronze in heavyweight, who is now a cruiser, but I think lights are lights. And then the super heavyweight or the heavyweight, Clark lost today against a guy called Jolalov. And you butcher that name. He was the favourite actually. He's tipped to go on to get it, and obviously the super heavyweights are the most interested in because they're the ones that are going to go on to be heavyweights. And we've seen, Joe Joyce that got silver in Rio, and obviously famously AJ won the gold. So Clark has been with the Olympic program since 2010, and trying to get. So he's been on the program and done the ABAs. He's boxed. I know he's boxed a lot of them in sparring, but I think he's boxed AJ in ABAs. He's definitely boxed Joyce in the ABAs, because I've seen that. But unfortunately, he was overlooked twice, once by AJ and once by Joyce to compete in the Olympics. So his dream finally kind of came true, and he was the boxing team captain as well. And he's gone and got himself a medal. And I think it's like most of them, as long as they go and get a medal, it's almost like, well, I was worthy of it. There's not many rounds. You basically have two rounds, and then I can't quite work it out because some people seem to go on to fight for a bronze and some people don't. And if they basically, two people get bronze. If you lose the semi-final, you just get bronze. You don't have a losing semi-finalist versus a losing semi-finalist for the bronze, but then you do in some weights, because I'm sure Yafai had to fight for a bronze. So yeah, bit tricky to fully understand it. Clark, he was getting outboxed. The other guy was a little bit more talented. Clark probably a bit more heavy-handed, but didn't quite have the reach, and he'd been cut in a previous fight. So his fight before that, he'd been cut, and the actual guy got disqualified for headbutts. So he went into the fight with actually 2 cuts, and then one got opened up really quite badly, and he couldn't continue. But he was probably getting out, not probably, was getting outboxed. So I don't think that would have changed the result. He was headhunting and going, it was in the final round. He knew he had to knock the guy out. So yeah, that's basically the round. So one final thing to say is Dubois' sister, who qualified.
Is it Caroline Dubois?
Yeah, I think she lost in the second round, so she was unable to go on and get a medal. So we've got 2 more people that are able to get a medal now. I think they're 2 women actually, in different weights. So there could be a gold, but it's been a while since we've not had a gold, actually. I think in the last Olympics, one of the weights got a gold. I know Joyce got a silver. But, I want to talk about the Olympics a bit because I like the Olympics, and obviously doesn't mean nothing because a lot of these we end up talking about in the future. And I've just been GB watching. I've not kind of watched anybody else. I know that there's been a New Zealand fight that's done quite well. Again, it's the normal countries that have dominated. I've not heard of any American that's done amazing and is going to be the next best thing, but honestly, I've not really looked into it. But yeah, with 6 medals, it's been a good Olympics.
Seems to be really big in Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. They seem to invest quite heavily in their Olympic program, and Olympic boxing especially, and wrestling and weightlifting. Is that what is the dominant country in the boxing, Olympic boxing?
I don't know who's topping the table, but I mean Cuba. It's the same old lot, really. Cuba are up there again. It's and it's strange how, I know it is a different sport, but with the money that you can make, I mean, Clark will probably turn pro, but it'll be another Joyce. He'll be turning. I think he's 33. He'll be turning.
I was going to ask how old is he, and is he going to turn pro?
He's 33. I mean, he's been in the boxing program for a long time. I think he's 33. So he's going to have to be rushed, and I probably see him as a bit less of a talent than Joyce. And he's obviously easily cut because he's been cut in the Olympics. So interesting. And obviously we've had some, you can cover this, but we've had some news of an Olympian from London.
Oh, Luke Campbell, yes.
The London Olympics, yeah.
Yeah, when you threw me off with that because obviously he's from Hull. Yeah, Luke Campbell announces his retirement. How old is he? Is he 32, 33?
Yeah, around that, yeah.
Even though he still looks about 19, doesn't he? He still looks really fresh-faced, doesn't he?
Yeah. Like me and you. Yeah.
Speak for yourself. Sum up his career, Luke Campbell.
Unlucky not to win a title, really. I think, you look at some of the clowns that have got a world title to their name, and he was talented enough. I think he was just unlucky to come and get. He was in a division where, there's just a lot of talent in it.
Yeah.
you know, that's kind of unfortunate. And I think he was a world level fighter, but he was just never quite good enough. The talent that was going on. You know, the Linares fight was probably the closest he got. He had 2 world title fights, didn't he? Who was his other one? Was it 2?
I think he had 3, didn't he? I know it was 2, yeah, because Linares and then he fought Lomachenko.
That's it, Lomachenko, yeah. And he nearly got ended at the end, the final round. The last one was to be a mandatory, wasn't it?
Yeah. For the WBC against Ryan Garcia.
Which ended up being a waste of time, really, because, you know, Campbell would have gone on to fight for the title where, you know, Garcia didn't. But yeah, I mean, I was a bit disappointed to hear it. I thought he could go again and have another crack. But, you know, he may have looked at it and gone, "Listen, you know, the talent is too high there and there's just kind of no point. I've earned my money." In his interview, he said, you know, he had a bit of time off with his family and just started to really enjoy the time with his family. He's got a young family. I think he's got 2 kids and stuff. And he's probably looked at it and gone, you know, did he win? I think he won gold, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's probably thinking, I've got a gold medal. You know, I thought I've won some belts, not the world title, and it's just beyond out my reach now. You just wonder that, you know, in 3 or 4 years' time, when they go, "Oh, why didn't I do it?" You know, I've got all the time in the world with my kids. I know that, you know, they're only a certain age for a certain period of time, but I think I wonder if he looks back and goes, "Oh, I wish I'd just, you know, given it another couple of years or something." But we don't.
Maybe. I'm a little bit like you. I thought he's definitely got the talent. He's still fresh enough. I think he could have gone again. Maybe not at lightweight, because I do think that the division is way too stacked for him to kind of play it in that kind of world title mix. I think with Josh Taylor moving up, if he does vacate all those belts, they're going to become fragmented. I really think he could have been in the frame to maybe fight for a light welterweight title, because he's not a small guy. He would have been, he's just as tall as any light welterweight. I think he was quite tall and rangy. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him go again. But, you know, gold medalist, you know, he lost his father, I think, was it just before the Linares fight? And maybe, you know, maybe that can, you know, something, a big moment in your life like that can really kind of alter your mindset. And maybe for him at that point, it was maybe like, I'll maybe have a couple more fights, but then I really want to spend time. I want to be closer with my family.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
He's had a pretty awesome career. You know, he's fought at the world level for the last, you know, shared the ring with, you know, a ring legend in Lomachenko. I
mean, we've always got to put this in perspective, you know, versus the average Joe in life, like me and you. You know, he's smashed it out of the park, and me and you are just having bang average lives, really. But, you know, we're happy.
He also fought. Do you remember he fought against Tommy Coyle at the? I don't know if it was which football ground was it, but it was. I know it was in Hull, open air.
Is it the Battle of Yorkshire, something like that, or Battle of Hull, or something?
The Battle of Hull, or something like that.
Sounds really crap, that, isn't it? The Battle of Hull.
You know, that would have been a pretty awesome. You know, I remember watching that. It was a decent fight. You know, whilst it lasted.
Yeah. I mean, when did he lose? When was the Garcia fight? It was early this year.
It was, well, if you remember, it was 2 days. Was it on 2 days after New Year's Eve? It was like on the 2nd of January. It was a really odd time.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he could have had some time off and maybe fought, you know, a comeback in the second half of the year at the new way, and then, you know, early next year, more of a kind of a higher step up and almost get himself decently ranked and a bit of experience, and then when because I don't think the belts will fragment next year, so he could have been in a good position to go, right, well, I'll fight for one of them, and, you know, add another crack. But anyway, it is what it is. Good luck to the guy. Better than your average Joe.
Yeah, 100%. All right, are we done with the Olympics now? Can we wrap it up?
There'll be a final Olympic roundup next week, I think, when it's all said and done.
Okay. Is there anybody any early tips for the Olympic squad? Anybody you think is going to go on and do big things?
Well, that's the thing I need to look at. I mean, I don't think no one's overexcited me in the British squad. I think Whittaker, Whitaker, he looked like he could be quite decent in the pro game, but it's so hard to tell, isn't it? Clark, I just think he's a bit, I think he'll make some waves, you know what I mean? But I don't see him. It's too stacked, really. The heavyweight division. I don't see him making rumbles. I see him as a poorer Joyce. But one thing I want to do is just have a look at the all the Olympic boxing and just see if anyone stood out. I mean, these Uzbekistans and Cubans, they sometimes look good, but they never seem to go pro. But I'll probably have a look.
If you're a Cuban boxer, you have to defect, don't you? Can't just go pro. No. They're not allowed to go professional, are they? That's the whole thing with Cuba. The interesting thing about the Cuban boxers, they teach it from a very young age, but they actually teach you they train you to be southpaw. So even whether you're right or left-handed, they always train their boxers to be southpaw because they're generally kind of trickier to fight. So it immediately gives them a slight edge. Bit of trivia for you.
Very good. Rightio.
All right, let's wrap it up. Okay, thanks everybody for listening. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe.